Let us now take the third model from this topic of number series, where we shall discuss various questions based on different logics apart from whatever we have discussed so far. As you have seen, in model number 1 we have taken all kinds of trivial series, and in model 2 we have taken series based on arithmetic, geometric and harmonic progression. But now we shall take up series where the logic changes with every series. And as I've mentioned, it's all about understanding the logic in that limited time and getting the answer as per the given question. So let's take some examples and understand various types of other logics. The first one here is 705, 728, 774, question mark, 935 and 1050. And it is obvious that we need to know what comes in place of the question mark. Now, as you can see here, generally to solve questions from number series, we first of all need to concentrate on the difference between two consecutive terms. Most of the times, by understanding the difference, we will be able to identify the logic between the different terms. So let's take up the difference between these terms and understand what is the probable logic. For example, if we take the first two terms, 705 and 728, we find that this is plus 23. That means 705 plus 23 gives 728. Then 728 and 774, we see that the difference here is 46, or nothing but 728 plus 46 will be equal to 774. Now, as soon as we see these two differences, something has to strike to our mind. That is, the first term here is 23 and second one here is 46. If you observe properly, this is nothing but 23 into 2, and this can be taken as 23 into 1. So this may be the possible logic behind the given series. If you observe, this is 23 into 1. Second one is 23 into 2. So if the next one satisfies 23 into 3, 23 into 4 and so on, then we will be able to find out the right answer. Otherwise, we may have to look for some other logic behind the given series. So let's go ahead with 23 into 3 and see if we are able to justify the given series. 23 into 3 is nothing but 69. So 774 plus 69 may be the next term. So this question mark here can be taken as 774 plus 69, which is nothing but 843. Therefore, the question mark here as we have obtained is 843. Now let us go ahead with the series and check if 935 and 1050 are obtained as per the pattern or not. Now if this is 23 into 3, the next one has to be 23 into 4. 23 into 4. 23 into 4 is equal to 92. So let us take plus 92 and see if it balances or not. 843 plus 92. 843 is 9 plus 92 is 935. Hence, this is the correct answer. We can also check with the next term. That is nothing but 23 into 5. 23 into 5 is nothing but 115. And 935 plus 115 gives us 1050. So very clearly, the logic behind this series is 23 into 1 plus 23 into 2 plus 23 into 3 and so on. That is nothing but the difference between two consecutive terms here are multiples of 23. And hence we can say that the question mark should be 843. So that's the answer for the given question. So very clearly we can understand that to solve questions from number series, we need to check up the differences between two consecutive terms and also think divergently. For example, 23 is not 23. Here it is actually 23 into 1. And then 46 is not 46. It's like 23 into 2. So this way, if you try to think in various ways, we may get the possible logic behind the given question. Let us now take one more example and see what is the answer for this one. The question here is 200, 231, 264, 299, question mark, 375. Again, we see that the series is gradually increasing. Like in the previous case, the series was again gradually increasing. So here also the series is like increasing gradually. There is no jump in the number there. So let's go ahead with the differences between these numbers and see if we can get a possible rhythm between these differences. 200 plus 31 will give us 231. Then 231 plus what gives 264? 231 plus 33 will be 264. 264 plus 35 will be 299. Now if you try to observe the differences here, 31, 33, 35. So it is pretty obvious that we have got the logic. These are all odd numbers starting from 31. That is 31, 33, 35. The next one has to be 37. So let's go ahead with 37. 299 plus 37. 299 plus 37. So the question mark should be equal to 299 plus 37, that is nothing but 336. So let's say the question mark is equal to 336, and remember, before we mark the answer, we need to make sure that the next one also satisfies. So if this is equal to 336, we can say that the next term must be in terms of 336 plus 39, and 336 plus 39 is equal to 375. Hence 336 has to be the correct answer for the given question. So in the previous example, we had seen that the differences were multiples of 23, and here we find that the differences are all odd numbers starting from 31. Likewise, the differences can be multiples of any other number instead of 23. It can be 12 or 14 or 6 and so on. And here also the differences may be odd numbers starting from some other value, let's say 37 or 71 and so on. And it may also be possible that the differences here are even numbers starting from some value like 84 or 32 or 24 and so on. So that's how we can solve questions from number series based on differences between the two consecutive terms. But let me add, friends, it may not always be based on the differences between two consecutive terms. There can be various other logics possible as well. But most of the times we can go ahead with the differences and understand what is the logic behind the given series. Let us now take up the next set of questions from model 3. So here we see that we have got the next three examples, that is example 3, 4 and 5. Now example 3 is 3, 5, 8, 11, 17, 23, 30. And here we are supposed to find out what is the wrong number out of the given numbers, or what is that number which does not fit in the series here. Now, as I have mentioned, let us first go ahead with the differences between two consecutive numbers. We find that 3 plus 2 gives 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. But again, when we take 8 and 11, we see the difference is 3. 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 plus 6 is 17. 17 plus 6 again is 23, and 23 plus 7 is equal to 30. So far the differences between the numbers here are as shown: 2, 3, 3, 6, 6 and 7. But if you try to observe the differences here, they are not in a particular fashion. There is no rhythm between these differences. And we already know that one of these numbers is wrong. So what should be that number here due to which the rhythm between these differences is lost? If we are able to identify that, then our job is done. Now if you try to observe, but the difference between first two numbers is 2. 3 plus 2, 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. Now let's assume that the logic here is plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus 5 and so on. We may be wrong, but we have to go ahead with one particular trial and check if there is any error or not. So let's go ahead with the logic, assuming that it is plus 2, plus 3, plus 4 and so on. If you try to observe, if this is plus 2, plus 3, if this is taken as plus 4, plus 5, then this will be plus 6 and plus 7. That means there is something wrong between these two differences. If these are taken as plus 4, plus 5, then the complete series here has got a fashion, has got a particular rule. That is, the differences are all natural numbers starting from 2. So let's say this should be 8 plus 4. If it is 8 plus 4, what we get here will be 12. And if it is 12 plus 5, then what we get next will be 17. So understand that 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 4 is 12, 12 plus 5 is 17. 17 plus 6, 23, 23 plus 7 is 30. That means these two are the wrong differences. The actual series here is based on the differences 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And by that, we are able to understand that 11 is the wrong number and the correct number there should be 12. So the wrong number here is the number 11. But again, friends, let me tell you, all of us need not get this right idea. Some of us may get it and some others may not get that. It is only that we should be able to get the right idea at the right time. And remember, you need not spend too much time while solving these questions. If you are able to get this logic, well and good. Otherwise, simply leave it, as there is no other way out to get the answer apart from trial and error method. We have only tried with something. If that satisfies, well and good. Otherwise, we have to go for some other logic. But then we waste a lot of time in checking with various other things. So 30 seconds, 45 seconds is the time limit that all of us have to follow while solving questions from number series. And especially when it comes to series where you have to find out the wrong numbers. Why? Because in such series, we have no idea which of the given numbers is wrong. So it becomes a little difficult to find out the logic there. Let us now take the next example, that is 18, 21, 16, 23, 12, 25, question mark. We are supposed to find out what comes in place of question mark. Now if you try to observe the numbers here, 18, 21, 16, 23, 12, 25, that means these are like increasing, decreasing, increasing, decreasing, and so on. So that's the flow of the series. It increases, decreases, then increases, decreases, increases, and next one probably has to be a lesser number, a decreased number. Now let us go ahead with the differences between these numbers here. 18 plus 3 is 21. 21 minus 5 is 16. 21 minus 5 is 16. 16 plus 7 gives 23. So far, if we try to observe the differences here, they are like plus 3 minus 5 plus 7. So next one has to be a negative difference. That means 23 minus something should give us 12. Now if we try to look at the magnitude here, 3, 5, 7, we feel that it may be 3, 5, 7. The next one has to be 9, 11, and so on. So let's go ahead with 9 and check if it is balanced or not. 23 minus 9. 23 minus 9 is 14. But the given number here is 12. That means very clearly the logic that we are trying to apply here is not satisfying the given series. Why? Because the magnitudes here are all odd numbers starting from 3. So the next one, if we take it as minus 9, 23 minus 9 will be 14. But the given number is 12. That means very clearly the trial that we have made with odd numbers is the wrong one. But anyway, let's go ahead and try to understand what is the difference between these two numbers. Why? Because here anyhow we have to find out the missing number. There is nothing which is wrong in the series. Had there been anything wrong, we would have changed this number here. But as the question is about finding out missing number, let's go ahead with the differences. 23 minus 11 gives us 12. And 12 plus 13 will give us 25. Now if we try to observe the differences here, plus minus plus minus plus, so obviously next one has to be minus. Why? Because they are like increasing, decreasing, increasing, decreasing, and so on. If you now try to observe the magnitudes, that is 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. So what do you think should be the next one? What is the fashion here, or what is the pattern which the differences here is following? If you observe, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13 are all consecutive prime numbers. Yes or no? 3, then 5, then 7, then 11, and then 13. All these are prime numbers. So it is obvious that the next one also has to be the next prime number. So after 13, the next prime number that we have is 17. So 25 minus 17 should give us the answer. So 25 minus 17 is equal to 8. So we can say that the question mark will be equal to 8. Remember friends, earlier we thought that the logic is 3, 5, 7, 9. But that failed for the next number. Hence we have tried with something else. And now we observe that these are actually all consecutive prime numbers starting from 3. So going by that, we find that 25 minus 17 should give us the value of question mark, which is equal to 8. So 8 should be the answer for this question. So this is how number series is all about, the right idea at the right time. You have to try with something, and if that fails, try to go for some other logic. And remember, you have only 30 seconds or maximum 45 seconds to do this. If you're able to get the answer, that's fine. Otherwise, simply leave it and go to the next one. Let us now take the last one here. 188, 186, question mark, 174, 158, 126. Let's go ahead with the differences. 188 minus 2 is 186. We are supposed to find out what comes in place of question mark. Let's take the differences between these numbers here. 174 minus what will give us 158? 174 minus 16 is equal to 158. And 158 minus 32 will give us 126. So if we try to observe, 188 minus 2 is 186, 174 minus 16 is 158, and 158 minus 32 is 126. Now we very well know that we will get two more differences here between 186 and question mark and 174. Only then these all differences will be following a particular fashion. But then if you try to observe the differences that we have got so far, 2, 16, 32, these are all powers of 2. That is nothing but this is 2 power 1, this is 2 power 1, this is 2 power 4, and 2 power 5. So maybe that is the logic between the given question. So if we try to take the other two differences as 2 power 2 and 2 power 3, we should be able to satisfy the given series. If that satisfies, we are through with the question. Otherwise, we need to go for something else. Now, as all are negative differences here, let's take it as minus 4. 2 square is nothing but 4, and then 2 cube here is 8. Now 186 minus 4. 186 minus 4 will be equal to 182. So the question mark here may be equal to 182. Now this 182 minus 8, if it is 174, then we have got the answer. Otherwise, we have to go for something else. And if we check, 184 minus 8 is 174. So very clearly, the question mark here should be replaced with 182. As the pattern here is minus 2 power 1, minus 2 power 2, minus 2 power 3, and so on. So the answer for this question here is 182. So mostly it's about finding out the differences and understanding what is the fashion or what is the pattern between the differences of two consecutive numbers of the given number series. So try to work in this way and find out the answer as quickly as possible. Let us now take the next set of examples from model 3. Now the example 6 here is 4, 2, 2, 3, 6, 15 question mark. That means we are supposed to find out what comes in place of question mark. If you try to observe the series here, it decreases, it is then constant and then keeps increasing. And you find that the increase is not a gradual increase. It jumps from 2 to 3, then suddenly gets doubled, then more than double, and so on. That means here, instead of addition, the logic there is in terms of multiplication, or I can say the logic may be in terms of multiplication. And if you try it out and observe, the correct logic comes out as follows. 4 into half is equal to 2. 4 multiplied by half is equal to 2. 2 into 1 is equal to 2. 2 into 1.5 is equal to 3. 3 into 2 is 6. And 6 into 2.5 is equal to 15. So if you look at this half here is nothing but 0.5. So we can say this is into 0.5. So the logic goes as follows. Into 0.5, into 1, into 1.5, into 2, into 2.5. That means, as you can see here, the logic is in terms of multiplication. And the multiplication factors are 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5 and so on. That means it is increasing by 0.5 each time. So very clearly, 15 should be multiplied with 3 to get what comes in place of question mark. 15 into 3 we know is equal to 45. So question mark should be substituted with 45, or 45 is the answer for this question. So that is how, as you can see here, the question is based on multiplying each term to get the next term, and the multiplication factor increases by 0.5 each time. Likewise, we may have various other patterns. For example, into 3, into 4, into 5, into 6, so on. Or into 3, into 6, into 9, into 12. That is nothing but multiplication by multiples of 3 to get the next term. So we need to just observe this and get the required answer. Let us now go for the next example, that is 8, 9, 13, 22, 36, 63. Here we are supposed to find out which of the given numbers is wrong. That means what is that number which does not fit in the given series. Let us try to find out the differences between two consecutive terms and observe is there any pattern between those differences. 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 plus 4 is 13. 13 plus 9 is 22. 22 plus 14 gives 36, and then 36 plus 27 gives 63. So if you observe, the differences here are 1, 4, 9, 14, 27 and so on. And it is pretty obvious that the differences here should not be in a particular fashion. Why? Because one of the terms here is wrong, and hence two differences will be wrong. Why? Because if these differences are in a particular pattern, then we can say that all the numbers are correct. But since one of the numbers is wrong, the differences also here are wrong. So we need to just try out with various ways and understand what could be the probable logic. Now if you look at the first three differences here, 1, 4 and 9, we see that these are all squares of natural numbers starting from 1. For example, 1 is nothing but 1 square. So this is plus 1 square. 4 is 2 square and 9 is 3 square. So if we try to continue with this pattern, the next one should be plus 4 square, and then we should have plus 5 square. So let's assume that this is the correct pattern and check which of the numbers here is wrong. For example, 8 plus 1 square is 9, 9 plus 2 square is 13, 13 plus 3 square is 22. Up to this point it is correct. But then 22 plus 4 square will be 16, 22 plus 16 but not 22 plus 14. And 22 plus 16 should be 38, and the given term here is 36. So maybe 36 is the wrong number. But then that can be confirmed only if 38 plus 5 square balances to 63. So very well we know that even this is a wrong difference. Now 38 plus 5 square is nothing but 25. 38 plus 25 is actually equal to 63. So very clearly, if we have 38 in place of 36, the differences become in a particular pattern, that is 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, and so on. So hence we can say that 36 is the wrong number, and that should be the answer for this question. Similarly, the other pattern here may be in terms of cubes, plus 1 cube, plus 2 cube, plus 3 cube, and so on. Or in terms of negative differences, minus 1 square, minus 2 square, minus 3 square, or minus 1 cube, minus 2 cube, minus 3 cube. Sometimes we get squares of only odd numbers. For example, plus 1 square, plus 3 square, plus 5 square, plus 7 square, and so on. But as I've already mentioned, there is no definite method to get the correct pattern at the first instant. It's all about trial and error. So if you get the right idea at the right time, you'll get the answer. Otherwise, you just have to move to the next one. Let us now take one last example from Model 3, that is 3, 4, 10, 33, question mark, 685. So we are supposed to find out what comes in place of this question mark. Now this series here is a typical one where the difference is a combination of multiplication as well as addition. Let me directly give you the pattern here so that you understand the logic behind that. 3 and 4, we see that the difference is 1. 4 and 10, the difference is 6. 10 and 33, the difference is 23. So the differences here no way form a probable logic. But then if you try to think divergently, for example 3 plus 1 is 4, but that 1 can be taken as into 1 plus 1. 3 plus 6 is 10, but that can be taken as 4 into 2 plus 2. 4 into 2 is 8 plus 2 is 10. Likewise 10 into 3 plus 3. So if you observe 3 into 1 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 into 2 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 into 3 plus 3. 10 into 3 30 plus 3 is 33. So we are able to understand that the logic here is into 1 plus 1 into 2 plus 2 into 3 plus 3. So the next one has to be into 4 plus 4. Now 33 into 4. 33 into 4 is 132. 132 plus 4 is 136. So we can say that the question mark here is 33 into 4 plus 4. 33 into 4, 132 plus 4 is 136. So question mark should be equal to 136. And the next one has to be into 5 plus 5. And 136 into 5 plus 5 will be equal to 685. So we are pretty sure that 136 is the correct answer. So the logic here is into 1 plus 1, into 2 plus 2, into 3 plus 3, and so on. Likewise, the other possible ways of giving the logic may be into 1 plus 1 square, into 2 plus 2 square, into 3 plus 3 square, and so on. And likewise, into 1 plus 1 cube, into 2 plus 2 cube, into 3 plus 3 cube, and so on. And likewise, there are many other possible patterns which can be used to form a number series. So it's all about understanding the pattern and getting the required answer.